Welcome to the 2025 Economic Depression and Preparation channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday edition, March the 2nd, 2025. Please be sure to subscribe and hit that like button for the latest Preach to Me interpretation of the financial news as it becomes available. I appreciate your support, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you're having a great weekend so far. Now, we're going to be talking briefly about the economy and are we getting recession indicators flashing red right now before we head into this spring and summer season that many are looking forward to. And also we're going to be talking about some of the DOGE layoffs that are rattling Americans across the country. And also we're going to be talking about the tariffs and also finally the Microsoft outage over the weekend that has left people, some people without tens of thousands access to the email. Could there be other outages and other critical services, since most of these top services that we use go through only a handful of companies and underground servers? So we have to look at that as well as we make preparations to tighten our belts for 2025. So let's look at this right now. Americans are getting fed up, quote, with the economy. This was for ABC News article here, affiliate station. Does this mean that we're heading into a, quote, recession? Well, I would argue that we're already in a recession. It's just that we've been able to print up money as America is the world reserves currency, our dollar. So even though it's weaker, it's still the least sickest child in the basket of currency of goods. And so that allows us to print over things and to, make things a little bit better. However, everybody knows that prices have gone up. Even in your Dollar Tree and Dollar General stores, and by the way, Dollar Tree is cheaper than Dollar General, at least in the area where I'm at. But anyway, in spite of that, the prices are still going up here. As you can see, consumers looking at you have to almost look at things. It used to be the store bought brands were cheaper, right? Than the Pacific brand that maybe you like some type of whole food or organic brand. It used to be, but now the store bought brands have caught up to, in some cases, exceeded the regular other brands, and that's kind of, so customers here are looking to try. You have to discern, at least spend 2 minutes discerning which one can I live with, which one can I afford, which one can I pay. And so this is nationwide here. So many Americans are feeling uneasy. Many Americans agree with we're gonna have to cut back with the spending and stuff like that. But at the same time, the jobs are just not there to replace it. They're not replacing it with high-paying jobs. They're not replacing it with manufacturing jobs. They're not giving our young people options in terms of trades and programming, computer programming, other things to help them to transition into this new automation economy, if you will, that we're supposed to be getting. And so that's the problem that we have here. So prices are going up, as you know. I don't have to tell you that. But also wages are not going up. And that's the big problem with this economy. And so Fed Chair Jerome Powell, he's looking at it and he's looking at the numbers and he's saying, well, technically I should be raising interest rates, but the economy can't support that because, our debt payments, interest debt payments and stuff like that. Now, the good news is this article says no signs of recession yet. And I would have to agree with that in terms of we're not in dire straight lines where you don't see you don't see queues outside for gas and food. You don't see, you don't see food and bread lines and all that kind of stuff, but you do see that since consumer spending accounts for 70% of the economy, I do see people only spending on essentials. I see all Americans, no matter where I go, West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, South, the Southeast, the Deep South, people are only spending on essentials, meaning they're only buying the things necessary for them and their family and their community. Food, water, security, medicines. I don't see anybody doing excessive travel, even with this spring break coming up in April here and Easter and Lent and all the different holidays and things coming up here. I just don't see Americans spending outside of the essentials here. So that's good news. And that's also good news that we're not into a full-blown recession just yet. So I just want to give you that positive outlook there, that Americans are working and they are making the necessary changes here as we get deeper into this type of thing that we're getting close to recession. Now, Walmart warned that the prices last week is slowing, but there's still a monopoly. Obviously, there's a Walmart in most of these towns and cities and municipalities, so they're monopoly. Same thing with Amazon. There'll be a slowing, but people are still going to have to buy there because there's not many other choices that are going to be quicker for getting goods and services to you. And unemployment rate is still at 4%. Now, I told you this is going to go to 5%, and I still believe that It's going to be probably between the summer, May and June, where this is going to spike to 5%, possibly 6% here. And it's not just because of the federal restructure. It's also because the private sector is going to be cutting jobs and restructuring too. Mergers, you're going to see some mergers of airlines. And this may be intentional, this may be unintentional, but you're going to see mergers of airlines, some mergers of food companies, fast food companies. You're going to see mergers of utility companies as well. That's all coming on later on down in this economic depression type of thing, later on this year and next year possibly. So now, DOGE layoffs are rattling consumers. As I just told you, economy can pay the price. There's some Barron's article here. Federal workers here were protesting in New York City on Thursday. Obviously, everybody has an important job to do, whether you do trades, whether you have a small business, whether you work for the federal government, state government, local government, whether you in the military, same thing. Everybody has an important job to do to help America in these times. And so most people are all for efficiency in the government and efficiency in the private sector, but they're not for cutting jobs that are essential to our daily lives. Everything from TSA to the intelligence community to police, fire, safety, to nurses at the VA and doctors at the VA. I mean, just a host of people, Social Security Administration, all these agencies provide a vital service to Americans as we continue. Remember, America has one of the oldest populations in the world. We're aging. The average age of Americans is over 55 now, over 50 years old. We have one of the older populations, rivaling Japan and some other nations. And so we need to take care of all of our citizens, old to young here. Now, Microsoft resolves global outage, according to CNBC.com. This was over the weekend. That left tens of thousands of unable to access their email and other apps. Now, this is something concerning because, like I said, Microsoft is part of the monopoly, the big FANG stocks and all that kind of stuff, right? What will happen if we can't access our bank accounts and other things? Because remember, over 85 to 90% of computers in America run off, and in the world run off of some type of version of Microsoft Windows, Outlook server, some type of server involving Microsoft, okay? And so what would happen if there's an outage on a massive scale of other things besides emails, like bank accounts? What about business inventory software, invoicing software, or contracting software, or whatever software you use? This is something that, when you have the dangers of having a monopoly economy. We had the same thing in 1920s before the Great Depression. We had a few companies controlling things, and when they went under, everything went under. That wasn't just on Main Street, but was on Wall Street too as well. And see, this service went out. Outlook, Exchange, Teams, 365, Azure, even these phone networks, a lot of them run off a lot of stuff that's in Microsoft. So cell phone outages may not be just caused by, a tower going down or some kind of software issue. It could be a software issue. It could be something dealing with these big companies. So what are we going to do when our critical services like email, communications, phones, bank accounts go down for just a day, or it could be a glitch in the system? That has happened time and time again. So we have to be careful. We have to plan for that as well, because that's something that we're going to be seeing more and more as we get deeper and deeper into this recession and collapse later on, as the years pass by. So I also want to talk about tariffs. Trump's tariffs chaos is contributing to delivery of delays of service of goods. The good news is the Sherman strike with these, remember the shipping strike that they were threatening to have on the East Coast and on the West Coast with Long Beach Port and Baltimore Port and Virginia Port, Norfolk Port. That has been, that's been canceled. They came to an agreement. That's the good news. But now we have these tariffs coming in by President Trump on Mexico, Canada, and other goods, and these deliveries are going to take longer, which is not a problem. I think most people, they could wait unless it's something that they need. Most of the stuff here is on appliances and, jewelry. That's not a big deal for most people. They can wait on those packages. But what if it's critical things that you may need, auto parts, or maybe if it's, something to deal with your house that you need to have, that you maybe can get cheaper, that you ordered, that you couldn't fix, like a water heater or something, and it's coming from overseas, or a freezer, and it's taking longer than scheduled. And it also costs more. So this is going to be an impact. We're not going to feel the full impact of these tariffs, I believe, until first quarter of next year. So the prices are going to continue to rise. And then next year, as we get officially into President Trump's, full year, that second year, 2026, that's when we're really going to feel it. If the tariffs, are not cut off the deal, if the deal doesn't, expire or something like that, 25% tariff across goods from Mexico and Canada goes into effect March the 4th. So this is this Tuesday, basically, March the 4th. Yeah. So it'll be this coming weekend here, this coming week, I should say, that those tariffs are going to go into effect. So all of this stuff is going to raise up. Your produce is going to go higher. Remember, a lot of your produce comes from not just California, but Mexico too, and also Canada. Most of our goods, most of our tomatoes, some of our appliances good that comes over by train, chemical goods that come over by train, pines, timber and stuff like that is going to go up next month, starting April, as soon as these tariffs go into effect. So longer delivery times and custom processing delays here. This is going to be critical here because once again, those custom process delays and the longer delivery times is going to cause, and another thing it's going to cause is going to cause the workers, the input workers, workers are going to have to work overtime to get these goods out, and they're going to be paid probably the same or less than what they were making before, because now the owners of these business owners are going to pass those costs on to the workers and on to you and I, the spender, the consumer. So there's a lot to consider here, but we just to keep all that in mind. But in any event, I hope everyone has a blessed weekend. Thank you for joining me. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.